I guess it all started about in the 7th grade. Up until that point, my friends and I never really thought about drugs that much. I mean, we knew that they were there, what they did, that they were out there somewhere. But, come on, we have more important things to worry about. I mean, stuff like girls, grades, playoffs for the football team, girls, making the team, girls. Did I mention girls already? Then there was that day. We were all hanging out in the park, arguing over who would win the game that night. The Cowboys or the Redskins, division rivals. Our debate was just beginning to settle down when Johnny came over. Johnny had been a part of our group since day one. But we noticed that he was hiding something in his jacket. And it didn't seem like anybody else was going to ask, so being the curious one of the group, I thought I'd ask. Johnny pulled out this tube of airplane glue. "What do you need that for?" I said. "I'm sure if the airline needs you to repair a plane, they'll call you." They all groaned at my attempt of humor. Johnny leaned forward, and all he said was, "You boys want to get a real rush?" Whether out of fear or cluelessness, nobody said anything. Finally, Sid spoke up for all of us. He said, "What in the world are you talking about, Johnny?" Johnny opened the glue, put it to his nose, took one big breath, and said, "Whoa, wow, this stuff is great. Anybody want to try some?" No one answered. "How about you, Tony?" Johnny asked. Although we were really all good and close friends, Tony was the one in our group that was probably more close to Johnny than any of us. And I guess that's why he took the tube first and gave it a try. Tony kind of choked up a little and started to pinch his nose, grasping for air. And Johnny asked Sid, who had made an excuse about having to go home, something about doing homework or whatever. And then he left. And it was my turn. I said no. I wasn't exactly sure why I said no at the time. I just knew I didn't really want to try it. Just didn't seem right. I asked him why he was doing this. He said he had seen his older brother, Jason, and all his buddies doing it. Out of the 6 of us hanging in the park that day, only 2 others gave it a try. After that day and the weeks afterwards, started seeing less and less of old Johnny boy. I wouldn't have seen him at all, except we had the same 3rd period English class, and he would occasionally sometimes show up for it. Not like he did anything in that class anyway. One day, though, I asked Tony how Johnny was doing. He said, "Man, Johnny's real messed up. He's doing aerosol." I laughed, thinking it was a joke, and he said, "Now how in the heck do you do aerosol?" Tony explained it to me, and suddenly, wasn't that funny? About a week later, I heard Johnny had tried to do an aerosol in one of those plastic garbage cans. That's where they found him. Head first in the garbage can. Can of hairspray, the ground beside him. They said inhaling the aerosol caused him to go into cardiac arrest. A 7th grader having a heart attack. Who would have thought that was possible? It was ironic, though, really. them finding him like that. It was kind of a illustration of how he threw his life away, just with one sniff. What I remember most about my 7th grade year of junior high was the last 3 weeks of school. Those are the 3 weeks I spent sitting behind Johnny's empty seat. I remember thinking to myself, who else is doing this? Who's next?
Sometimes I can still hear her laughing. She had this adorable, out-of-breath kind of laugh. The kind you only heard when Dad chased her across the yard, pretending to be a ferocious monster that was going to gobble her up. I remember how cute she was in her Sunday dress, flashing that priceless smile that was just perfect, except for 3 missing teeth. Whenever our parents went out for a night on the town, we stayed at home and entertained ourselves. We kept each other company. I was actually babysitting, but neither of us looked at it that way. We considered it more like quality time. We played games, we watched movies, and we ate popcorn until we thought we'd pop. She would climb into my lap and give me a great big hug and tell me I was the best brother a little girl could ever have. I remember how great it felt to have this little person think the world of me and wishing it could stay this way forever. But I didn't get my wish. Forever ended in an instant. One night she woke up and climbed down from my lap to get a drink of water. Almost at the same moment, I heard the sounds of running footsteps and heavy breathing. It started at the side of the house and moved towards the front yard and out to the street. Then I heard the screeching tires of a car going way too fast to safely make the corner onto our street. Then I heard the car as it skidded to a stop in front of our house. I jumped up and ran to the window, opened the curtain just wide enough to see what was going on. As I opened the curtain, a voice yelled, "Punk!" And then shots rang out. I dove to the ground as the glass from our window shattered. I remember yelling, "Tiffany, get down!" I remember her turning and looking towards me, rubbing her sleepy little eyes with both hands, saying, "What?" And I said, "Get down!" Then I remember her crying out and falling to the ground. She didn't answer me when I shook her and yelled, "Tiffany! Tiffany! Tiffany!" I felt like I was trapped in a slow motion scene of shoot 'em up. I remember the shots echoing, the car screeching away, making the call, hearing the sirens, seeing the flashing lights, my parents crying. It was all a blur. None of it made any sense. But most of all, I remember sitting at the dinner table across from her empty seat.
I remember when Mike first got that car. He would spend 4 hours every Saturday washing, waxing, and pampering that thing. It was his pride and joy. He worked hard and saved for 3 years to buy that bright yellow convertible Mustang. Man, that thing practically glowed in the dark. It was a lot better than that old clunker we used to tease him about. We called it a 1942 get out and push. But he used to laugh along with us and say, "You'll see." One day, Robbie, the local drug supplier, told Mike that he could make enough money in 2 weeks to buy that car if he went to work for him. Mike just said, "No thanks," and walked away. I remember thinking to myself, whoa, that's a guy with his head screwed on straight. Knows what he wants and is willing to work hard for it instead of taking the easy way out, you know? To be honest with you, I was proud of him. Then the first day of senior year rolls around, and lo and behold, here comes Mike and the Canary. That's what we used to call it. He had the top down, music pumping, wearing a big old smile as if to say, "See, I told you." I said to him, "Man, I don't know how you did it, but congratulations." He said there's nothing to it. If your mind can conceive it and your heart can believe it, you can achieve it. I said, man, that's deep. He said it worked for him, and that's how he intended to achieve his other goals of being a doctor, starting a family with 2.5 children, a house with a white picket fence, the American dream. But for right now, he was content to have the Canary. Man, he loved that car. It was more than just a car for him. It was a symbol that anything was possible. All senior year, the Canary was the main attraction. It showed up everywhere. Games, dances, parades. It also showed up for school, of course, because, Mike was in the top 3% of our class. It showed up for prom. Prom was actually the last time any of us saw the Canary. It's not what you're thinking. Mike didn't drink and neither did his girlfriend. He had better things to do with his time. And he would never do anything to endanger the Canary. It wasn't his fault at all. His only mistake was being on Highway 28 at the same time that drunk driver was. A drunk driver with 3 DUIs on his record. We assume Mike saw the driver cross into their lane, heading directly towards them, and swerved to avoid it. Which would explain how the side of the Canary got hit, which sent it spinning out of control through the guardrail into the ditch. The Canary was no more. I remember at graduation, as a memorial, we left 2 empty seats. I remember being so depressed and so mad at the whole situation and the unfairness of it all. Why? Was the only question I could ask, and I don't know was the only answer I could offer. I remember feeling so helpless staring at those empty seats. And then one day I just snapped. I thought to myself,
That's it. I've had enough. I decided that if...
I can't bring them back. And I better do everything I can to stop them from going in the first place. Whatever that means. Whether that is trying harder to help my friends or
getting involved in anti-gang movements, in gun control, or...
campaigning for stricter DUI laws. Whatever it takes.
Things have
to change. No more empty seats.
No more empty seats.
No more empty seats.